NBA players can be considered some of the biggest stars in the world nowadays with the reach that the league has. With all of this incoming attention comes a lot of high-profile relationships with other celebrities. In today's video, we're gonna be looking at NBA players who have dated big-name celebrities. Even one celebrity that has dated more than 4 players over the past few years. How could she have been able to do that? And who is she? Stick around until the end of the video to find out. Before that though, we're gonna dive into a different relationship. The first NBA player that we are gonna talk about who dated a celebrity is none other than Nick Young, Swaggy P himself. The guard saw himself get into a high-profile relationship with Iggy Azalea. The relationship really didn't end up lasting that long, but every media outlet in the country appeared to be pinpointing in on the romance to get all the details they could. It also didn't help that when their relationship ended, it ended in a way that everybody wanted to write about it. According to Azalea herself, she said that the reason it didn't work out with Young was because she caught him bringing another woman into their home. She figured it out by looking at security recordings in their home, which is where she caught him doing so. Still though, quite the interesting relationship. I don't think it was nearly as interesting as the relationship between Kris Humphries and Kim Kardashian. Humphries and Kardashians' relationship was unbelievably messy throughout their entire time together. When they got together, they began moving very fast. They were initially reported to get into the relationship sometime in 2010. Just 1 year after that, they decided to get married. It might have been a little too quick though, as the marriage certainly didn't last that long. It lasted a grand total of 72 days before they filed their divorce papers, and say this is too big of a difference from some of the other Kardashian types of relationships between NBA players. If you didn't know what we meant by these Kardashian relationships, let's talk about another one between them and an NBA player. This is the romance between Tristan Thompson and Khloe Kardashian. This one's a doozy to say the least. They met at a group dinner during an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. There were some issues in the middle because of a situation between Thompson and an ex-girlfriend that was pregnant. They moved past it together without splitting. Khloe even said outright that they've talked about starting a family. Soon, they announced their first child together. That was when disaster struck, as Thompson was filmed making out with multiple other women in a video released by TMZ. If this wasn't bad enough, a few months later saw videos of Thompson further cheating on Khloe were released. It was showing him entering a hotel room with an unknown woman and kissing another one on a rooftop. Seems clear that they've broken up, but they celebrated the birth of their child together, and they have been seen on a few dates here and there since then. The drama still isn't done, as they reportedly broke up back in 2019. That didn't stop Khloe from talking about asking him to be a potential sperm donor for another child of hers. Yes, that's a real thing, she said on her TV show. Then, a few months later, they got back together to give their relationship one more shot. They were allegedly engaged, then Thompson admitted to cheating publicly with another woman who he also got pregnant. So at the end of the day, this relationship was an absolute mess, and one that likely isn't even over at this point. Moving on though, let's talk about Rick Fox and Vanessa Williams. This is a relationship that a lot of people likely didn't even know was happening all these years ago. The former Los Angeles Laker Rick Fox got into a relationship with famed singer and model Vanessa Williams. They decided to elope in 1999 and even welcomed a daughter into the world. Unfortunately, they split a few years later in 2004, but it wasn't ended on bad terms. In fact, the two were still very close despite the split. The same can't really be said about this next romance. It was the celebrity relationship between Chris Webber and Tyra Banks. Webber and Banks got together for roughly 2 full years, and by all accounts, it looked like they were very committed to one another. However, when they eventually split up, Banks revealed some information to make it seem like there was more going on behind the scenes than what we saw in public. Banks admitted that she had struggles with Webber in their relationship due to the groupies that he had at the games and off the court. It was something that apparently was a well-known issue dating back to when they got into their relationship. Banks didn't entirely seem over the breakup when discussing it all those years ago, which could mean that they likely weren't on the best of terms at the time of the split, though could certainly be now. The same can be said regarding the relationship between San Antonio Spurs legend Tony Parker and Eva Longoria. Parker and Longoria were an incredibly high-profile relationship for a good amount of time before they decided to tie the knot and get married. Things seemed to be going well, but as the majority of high-profile NBA relationships go, it didn't end up lasting. Parker and Longoria called it quits at some point in 2010, with both it being clear that it simply wasn't a good fit for either party. That doesn't mean that there was a loser in this marriage ending though, as both of them were able to get into another marriage in just a matter of a few years, following the relationship coming to an end. Not every relationship is that lucky. This next NBA player that was in a celebrity relationship was Kyrie Irving when he publicly dated Kehlani. There's likely a tremendous amount of people out there that could have forgotten Irving was in a relationship with Kehlani at all. But it happened and was filled with drama, as many as these things are. The reason for the drama is that Kehlani was rumored to be cheating on Irving. Some sources said that Kehlani was involved with another artist at the same time of getting into a relationship with Kyrie, though Irving surprisingly defended his ex-girlfriend rather than bashing her for potentially cheating. He posted a pretty substantial social media post to defend her, something that is actually pretty classy considering that this was basically a cheating scandal. You don't see that very often. You know what else you don't see or hear about often? Fact that J.R. Smith was in a relationship with Rihanna at one point. Well, sources say it was a relationship. Others claim that it was just a hookup. Nevertheless, Sports Illustrated claimed that the two hooked up when he was on the New York Knicks and that they were seen being incredibly affectionate with one another at a club earlier in that year. The hookup must have taken a turn at some point, because Rihanna took to social media to rip up Smith over a horrible playoff game during the Eastern Conference semifinals. She said his ash should be hung over from clubbing every night during the playoffs. As bad as the relationship might have turned, it did seem to be very real. One source talked about the two and said they were flirting in the club all night and holding hands. She was sitting on his lap and was really into him. He is the team's most controversial player, so it's no wonder that Rihanna likes him. This isn't a made-up quote, it's a genuine quote from a source in an article that was written when they were hooking up. If you thought the combination of Smith and Rihanna was crazy, then this final one is gonna be even crazier. This one celebrity in particular has been involved in a handful of relationships with NBA players, which is what we're gonna dive deeper into. Kendall Jenner has dated Devin Booker, Jordan Clarkson, D'Angelo Russell, Blake Griffin, and some have even argued Kyle Kuzma. Jenner didn't really acknowledge a few of these to the media, but she did say that she was just super close with Kuzma at one point. She also stated that she wasn't that into Russell after the two were seen together numerous times at one point. Clarkson, Booker, and Griffin appear to be the names that were as close to confirmed in a relationship with her as possibly can be. Oh, we can't forget about the rumors that she was dating Ben Simmons also, though the two really were intimate for about a month or two before kind of splitting in different directions. It could be that they have an open relationship, or a very casual one. That does it for this video on the NBA players that have dated celebrities. Make sure to take a moment to ring that notification bell and smash that subscribe button so you never miss out on another one of our videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to leave a like on the video and comment below if you were shocked by any of these relationships.